Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
Too long, we have former state representative Donnie Copeland joining us. Donnie, good to talk to you, sir.
Hey, Paul, how's it going, man?
It is going pretty great, actually.
A lot of news out there, isn't it?
Really is. There's a ton of news out there. How have you been doing? What's the biggest news? What's the biggest news item that's been on your mind the last couple of days?
I would say the Roy Moore, Luther Strange race in Alabama, and the NFL by far. Mm-hmm. Those two are the two leading to me.
Who do you think Asa Hutchinson wants to win that Alabama Senate race? If you had to speculate, Roy Moore or Luther Strange?
Man, you are a man. You are a legend in your own time, not in your own mind, in your own time. Because what I thought about last night was, is there anybody in the Arkansas media that has asked the governor that question? And if not, why not? And so I don't know. Maybe Roby Brock will ask him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think we all know. I mean, we all know what. Know, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. Or I mean, we all know what Asa believes. I mean, we all know he wouldn't want Roy Moore.
He's a big Luther guy. I mean, Big Luther is right down the line. Now with last I heard, Moore was up 16 points in one poll. Mm-hmm. The last poll I read last night.
Yeah, we got to watch.
So I'm sure,
Yeah. I'm sorry, Donnie. We got to watch it though, because you never know what kind of dirty tricks they're going to play on the ground. Like they did in Mississippi in that primary with Cochran.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I guess I was thinking more back to the governor. Would he answer that question? Well, he'd probably either at best hedge or with him haul around because of the poll. But yeah, to the election itself, absolutely. I wouldn't put anything past them. Look, if they will spend $30 million, A, B, they will tell the lies and things they have done on Roy Moore and basically try to destroy a man who has been nothing but stellar in that state. Yeah. All for a Senate election. They'll do anything.
Yeah.
We've seen this movie play out in Arkansas, right?
Yes, we have. But, I mean, you think about, his stance as on the Supreme Court, on the Ten Commandments in Alabama. That is so what's sad is there are people in the establishment all across this country that are so upset about that or so intimidated by it because they honestly don't know how to defend the Ten Commandments in public anymore. It's really sad. And then, statements, like he quoted, red and yellow, black and white, they are all precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world the other night, And he said, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, red and yellow, black. But it's so interesting how you have other people that are so politically correct that they look at somebody like Roy Moore and they're worried to support him,
Yeah. And an interesting part, I did a little digging into the Ten Commandments controversy and the gay marriage. And if you look at that, Roy Moore, of course, being a West Point graduate, the guy is a brilliant guy. He's a country boy. He doesn't come off super polished, but he is not a dummy. He's a very smart man. And if you look at both of those controversies, and I put that in parentheses because I don't think either one of them were, both of those, he stood on the merits of the law. Neither one of those were like religious stands. Those were law. I mean, he had a solid standing legally on both of those. Mm-hmm. It's just that as Supreme Court in this nation has decided the laws they don't like, they ignore. Mm-hmm. And I mean, and the point I made on Copeland Report, I said this. I said, so Roy Moore ignoring the law on gay marriage is not the same as liberal judges in Seattle ignoring the law on immigration. Those are both federal laws. Actually, one is a law and one's not a law. There was not a federal law about gay marriage, but there was a federal law about immigration.
Yes.
And yet you had judges who ignored that, but they didn't get reprimanded. They didn't get thrown out of office. Mm-hmm. And so there's this huge double standard, just like what's going on with the NFL. Tim Tebow kneels and he gets ostracized. People write on their socks about 9/11. They get fined. And then you have, these guys and they don't even know why they're kneeling, quite honestly, most of them.
Yeah.
They couldn't tell you. If you said, hey, I don't want you to kneel anymore, let me fix this, what do I need to do? They couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones couldn't tell you,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, they're talking about,
if you look at the NFL, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, look at the NFL. Look at it.
Yeah, if you look at the NFL, and I was doing some research today, man, you look at the NFL and you look at the entangled leftists, the way they got all these tax exemptions, this tax-free status, nonprofit status, a $17 billion a year corporation gets nonprofit status. And this is all done by, I hate to say it, from my home state of Louisiana. It was Boggs and Huey Long's son.
Yep.
That it is beyond corrupt how that all came to be to begin with.
Well, it's bread and circuses.
And I'm glad to hear they're going to undo it. I hope they are.
Yeah. I think they said something about that in 2015. You know, the tax exempt status is kind of going out the wayside. But like, and I talk about this in my Wednesday weekly Patreon video. That's going to be out tomorrow, just about bread and circuses. We actually compare this whole NFL situation to Rome and the bedrock principles of our society. Use a little Francis Schaeffer in there. But Donnie, I
love Francis Schaeffer.
Me too. How Should We Then Live? It's a great book. That's kind of what we're talking about tomorrow in that video. I will tell you this about the Jerry Jones thing. When I saw that photo of Jerry Jones kneeling, I just the one word that came to mind was worship. It literally is. Let's bow down. Let's pay tribute to political correctness, but it's not really political correctness. It's just let's make these fantasies a reality. Let's acknowledge that these fantasy outrage moments, these social justice warriors, we're going to claim that it's a reality, even though I don't think Jerry Jones is on board. I think it's more of a business decision.
Yeah, and we see this with corporate, America, just on a wholesale level, just folding. I mentioned this in a sermon on Sunday. You look at a lot of leftist stances that they have no credible. They have no concrete substance. Because let's take Target. Target makes this decision to start having these bathrooms. I mean, the women's bathroom where men can go in the women's bathroom. It costs them $2 billion. It makes no economic sense. Zell Jewelers starts running a ad campaign with two women mixed in with all the other couples trying to sell wedding rings. And the lesbian or gay population is 1.5% of America. No one in their right mind would spend that kind of money to alienate the huge majority of your customer base,
but they do.
1.5% of your customer base, unless it goes beyond. It's not about dollars and cents. The NFL is not about dollars and cents because Rush Limbaugh is right. They cannot win this fight. They cannot win this. So it's not about money. They're going to lose. I'm going to tell you right now, they lost $200 million in 2016, and they were already in the tank 12%, and I've got a story coming out on Copeland Report about this. The minor leagues where Tim Tebow played this year was up 12%. The NFL is down 12%. Now, I think that's divine coincidence right there, personally.
Wow.
But, these are not good, solid decisions being made. This is being made. You nailed it. It's like worship, and it's really disturbing. It goes back to liberalism is a mental disorder.
Well, I would just say, I was talking to a guy in the studio. They were talking about how, and this is just the truth. I mean, I'm not saying you can't be on the left and be religious, but it does seem that more and more, those who identify with the right-leaning politics, they tend to be more religious and more, traditional American values, Judeo-Christian ethics. Those on the left, not as much. I mean, it's just the way it is. And so these leftist causes become their religion, in my opinion. That's what I see. I say that they, and that's why right now, I mean, if you go up to a true leftist and you even mention Trump, it can get so divisive so quickly because there is just so much passion there, a religious fervor.
And no, you're exactly right, and that's not some right-wing, wide-eyed thing. Just go back to the DNC's convention, 4 or 6 years ago?
Yes.
When they denounced God, booed God on the DNC floor.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is not some right-wing radio host making some far-reaching, opinion about left versus right. It's there. They are anti-God. And so that's why you see Democrats that have any hint of morality or godliness leaving the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So but hey, on a sunshining note, Bob Corker's leaving the Senate. So that's
I know, I saw that. Oh man, maybe that. He had a lot to do with that Iran deal that was so bad. You know what I mean? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, that dude. I mean, Tennessee. Every time I get really frustrated about Republicans not knowing how to be conservatives in Arkansas, and I have plenty of frustration, is I look over at Tennessee, especially on the federal level. Now, their state level has finally got it. They're fighting. They are. Governor.
Oh man, let's stop. Let me give you a specific example. So a couple of years ago, the governor of Tennessee, Bill Haslam, wants to expand Medicaid. Okay, this is obviously before the election of Donald Trump. Obama's still in office. He's a Republican. He gets in his idea. They call a special session of the Tennessee legislature, and the governor's bill, the Republican governor bill, in the Republican-controlled legislature doesn't even get out of committee because all of the Republicans say, we campaign to not expand Medicaid and we don't want Obamacare. Could you imagine, Donnie, if that happened here in Arkansas, where Republicans actually quit being lapdogs and stood up to Asa Hutchinson and his progressive agenda?
From your lips to God's ears, man. I mean, I had a good friend over in Memphis say this. He said, Republicans got control of the House and the Senate in Arkansas, but one, they don't know how to be conservatives. I don't know if they're scared. I don't know if they never were real conservatives, real Republicans, or they're just flawed Democrats that just needed to run as Republicans. But something has to happen. But thankfully for Tennessee, they've made that turn. They're actually the legislature now realizes they are a separate, aspect of government, and their job is not to do the bidding of the governor, no matter what party he comes from, is to represent the people that elected them.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right, we're talking with Donnie Copeland. He's a former state representative here in Arkansas. Now, Donnie, you've mentioned it several times in the duration of this interview, the Copeland Report.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, the Copeland Report. Now, I want to talk about this because this is just basically a news aggregator. Is that right? Just kind of like the Drudge Report,
that's right.
but for Arkansas.
Right. Exactly. We pull stories from not just Arkansas, but all over the nation. Breitbart News, a lot of really cool, more obscure American Thinker, which you're familiar with.
Yes.
America's Great. A lot of other sites, a lot of opinion pieces. I do more of the national opinion stuff, and then Robin, our co-founder, she was actually a newspaper reporter in her former life. She does most all the Arkansas, more of the, I call it the murder and mayhem stories.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, but it does have an Arkansas flair. And I want to give people. I posted it on our Facebook live feed, but I want to spell it because it's not spelled the way your last name is spelled. It's spelled Koplan report.com. That's correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And it has an Arkansas flair to it. I mean, for example, you do have the national stories, but there's just a lot of good places to find just really quick-hitting Arkansas news. You've got the Gravette Police Department asking for help finding a missing teen. Another headline, U of A student accused of video voyeurism, sharing images online. Then down to Conway mother accused of trying to suffocate infant. Miller County judge gives man 100 years. Stuttgart woman blames Arkansas DHS data breach for outstanding hospital bills. I mean, these are some really good stories, and you have put it all into a Drudge Report. It looks a lot like the Drudge Report-esque website.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like a one-stop shop, I guess.
Exactly, and just kind of in this, and I meant to say this earlier, so this is not just kind of a thank you, but I want to tell you, man, I'm so excited about Patron. I'm excited about what you guys are doing, the extra content, and so I'm actually signing up. I had meant to do that before I left town. I've been gone.
I understand.
And so just to hear you talking about the new and fresh stuff and the extras, I'm really excited. And I'm going to tell you this. I've told you this personally, and I'll tell your audience that, I mean, you're great on the radio. People love you, and I'm so thankful to hear that you're getting beyond just what you have for a while, but you're really spreading out and getting all over the state. And I'm going to tell you, you are, and I think we're emerging to do that because we do a conservative slant to everything that we do. That you're emerging, and you're a lone voice in a lot of ways out there because we just don't have much media that will stand up to this governor, stand up to the legislature, and the powers that be. The media is really lapdogs, and we need some media that will stand up and hold them accountable and hold the other media accountable.
Yeah, well,
so thank you.
Well, it's I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I appreciate your kind words, Donnie. I wouldn't know what else to do, honestly.
Me either. Me either, Paul. I couldn't, in good conscience, do anything else. I'm like you. I mean, it's like it's not heroic to you or me because it's who we are.
Yeah.
And it's really sad that we will hold people accountable. And I don't think I don't think you've ever. In fact, I'll say this: I was accused not long ago of slandering the governor, and I took exception to that because when the governor's family was drug in because of a unfortunate thing that happened with some of his family, I said that's wrong.
Yeah.
Just because he's the governor, that should not be. And
I didn't cover it either because I was like, well, it's not really relevant.
Yeah, and I think not only was I upset that they did that, I felt and I prayed for the governor and his wife, and I don't have one personal issue. If he was conservative and he governed conservative, and the legislature governed conservative, man, I'd be his biggest fan. If he started today, I'd be his biggest fan. So mine is principled.
Me too.
And I see this progressivism that it just continues to creep, and it really hadn't slowed down hardly any from Mike Beebe.
Yeah, you're right. Donnie Copeland, that's all the time we have, sir. We appreciate it as always. And the website, again, is the Copeland Report, KOPLAN report.com. We'll talk to you again soon, Donnie.
Thank you, Paul.
All righty.
Take care.
Appreciate it. Folks, got to go to break. Back in a minute.
The Paul